What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Man Made of Thoughts, my podcast where I talk about whatever I want to. And comic books just happen to be the thing that I really like besides Super Sentai or making my own comics. Anyway, what we're going to talk about today is why the message is not always more important than the content of the story. Alright, so if you create comics solely to push messages, well, unfortunately, you're doing it wrong. I'm always on the hunt for a great artist to collaborate with. This is very true. I'm always on Reddit or DeviantArt or Instagram or something. I will reach out to you. If your art says something, I will find you and I will pay you. And I write so many stories, so much. I just write stories. I'll find an artist and I'll be like, man, that guy would be really good. I'm gonna write a story for this guy so I can when this guy responds to me, he has some work waiting for him already. But that, I know that's weird. But what I'm saying is, musicians do that type of thing all the time. And it reminds me of when Kanye, he wrote "Ain't No Love" in the heart of the city for DMX, but Jay-Z liked it so much that he made it into a song. And it's fascinating when you read the liner notes and whatnot. But sometimes I'll say that when I see an artist put up political statements in their drawings, does everybody remember that the Hellboy picture that said he's wearing a Biden-Harris shirt? And I feel like that devalues your brand. If you have your characters stand for something that is not really it's not really in continuity of your characters. If you haven't established that they live in modern day America, then why would that's like having Red Sonja wear a Gucci shirt or something like that. She's a warrior, number one. Why does she need a Gucci shirt or Fendi shoes or something like that? But people have been doing it. They've been using their characters to throw messages in at people, which this is the most ineffective way, because we know people aren't really reading comics like that. The cool kids aren't reading comics. They just co-opt the culture, because you can go to Quora or any Google site and figure out what happened in a comic and then just go have an opinion about it later. You don't even have to read it anymore, and somebody already would have done the thing. Roronoa Zoro or Monkey D. Luffy did on the internet already. So you just go there, read a couple of pages. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna talk about I'm a rage or whatever. But the point is don't do it. Don't devalue your brand by putting your own spin on a character that has nothing to do with it. Do you, if you saw Batman wearing a MAGA hat, would you want to buy that issue of Batman? Well, maybe some people would, but at the same time, it doesn't make any sense within continuity of, because we haven't established that Donald Trump is the president in that timeline. Or maybe they have. I don't know. I don't follow Batman, but what I'm saying is, you wouldn't do that. You would do something different, But this is what they're doing. They had DC had all their heroes wearing the little mask and all that stuff, and then they had the Tom Holland when he was filming for, I don't know, was it No Way Home? The principal filming, and he had a Spider-Man mask on, then he had a mask on top of the mask, looking like an absolute doofus. That's just taking it too far, man. You already got a mask on, it's already clinging to your face, and you put another mask on. I guess you have accomplished the will of the almighty Fauci. But anyway, whenever I see an artist that I want to collaborate with, whenever I see them do that, they throw that political message in. One of them, I was on there, and I don't care if you're gay, straight, you call yourself they, them. I really don't care. As long as you can draw good and you do the job, I really don't care, what you believe. But he put a shirt on one of his characters, and it was all cops are stupid. And I'm like, sheesh, man. Like that's an absolute, man. And last time I heard, the only people who deal in absolutes are Siths. Like, do you know a cop personally, and that you can attest that they are a horrible person, that they beat up on people that they just see on the streets? Do you think this is Final Fight? Like random guys just standing on the side, just bopping his head with his boombox, and a cop just comes out of nowhere and just beats him? Yeah, what do you think this is, man? I can't believe they can push this narrative and actually people believe it, because it's such a stupid narrative. Like, people being hunted in the streets. Like, what do you think this is, man? Police 911, an arcade game by Konami or something? Look, like you wouldn't be saying that, right? If somebody like punched you right in your jaw, like they just stole on you, they just walked up to you, just punched you in your jaw, just broke it, and then they stole your mom's like watch or pearl necklace or whatever, so she couldn't even clutch anything, right? After you just got laid the fook out, and and would you be saying, "Oh man, the cops are so stupid"? Or would you just sit there and camera on it and just feel like, you know what, I ain't gonna tell nobody because I ain't no snitch? I don't know. Well, some of these guys are hardcore. They might just rather die than call the cops to report that they got stolen on. But anyway, I didn't want to work with that guy after I saw that, because he had ruined his own shot. It reminds me of when I was in college. Um, my professor, she was like the head of the whole art department, and so she was sitting on the hiring board of like who got to come there and all this stuff. And she said one guy was so great, like his portfolio was on point. He was very professional, interviewed well. But when he sent a thank you email, he had Matthew, no, John 3:16 at the bottom. And everybody knows that one. That one is, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, so that he may, so that you may have everlasting life. Or is it you may not die but have everlasting life? Anyway, she said it was those words that cost him, because she did not care about his political or religious affiliations. She said it was strictly business. He cost himself a job. She said he was great, but he just didn't fit into the organization that she was hiring him for. Could you imagine hiring somebody who, I mean, and you don't even know? You don't know. But could you imagine if you hired somebody knowing that they would spread propaganda around your job or your workplace or all that stuff? What type of things that would do if people just jumped on people for saying perceived microaggressions, a look or anything? Would you hire somebody who like literally is on 10 all the time? That's all they do is get mad and walk out, or they get mad and try to correct somebody. Like, nobody wants to hear your diatribe. Nobody cares about your personal problems. Unfortunately, you're the only person that cares about your own stuff. And so, yeah, that guy cost himself. I'm pretty sure he'll be fine without me. It's not like I was the money that was gonna make him a millionaire, and he was just, he has his own personal. If he says that all cops are stupid, all cops are bad, there's going to be somebody who's going to be like, yeah, let's do an anti-cop comic, whatever. But it just won't be me. So my point in saying that is that when did it get to the point where, you know, artists have been infiltrated, like we were supposed to be the last bastion, like art, it was the final frontier. It was the Alaska of entertainment. Like, we were outlaws living on the edge, and we ride in town and we arrive at the saloon exactly at noon. Not 11:59, not 12:01. We arrived at noon and we clear the place out. Why? Because anybody realized that they can get it at any point. And it used to be where if you were an artist and an artist made a song about you, you cowered in fear because your image and reputation, they were on the line now. Do you know how many songs were written about people who were cheating on other famous people? So they made a song or a video or a story about it. But it seems like because we live in this era of what's that girl's name? Taylor Swift? Yeah, where like she was dating Taylor Lautner and she made a diss track about him and he seemed to dance and sing along to it. And that was, I guess that's where this all came from. Like when you dance and sing about it, and everybody knows that this song is about you, and you're dancing and singing to it. So, that's where this came from. So now people no longer fear a diss track. Like no one fears it because they could just be like, yeah, so I did that. I'm this person. What you gonna do about it? Like nobody cares about their reputation anymore because it's just like never let a crisis go to waste. I digress. And it was like when people slapped you in the face back then, it was a duel, in the town square. Take 10 paces and spin. But now artists like henchmen, like any henchman, you name it, Zeniths, imps from QQ, Sentai, Go-Go 5, whatever you want to call them, they work with the people that we used to rebel against. How can you call yourself anti-establishment, but yet you're telling people to do everything that the establishment wants you to tell them? You are not punk rock. You are not punk if you're telling people to do exactly what the authority figures tell them to do. That's like me saying, man, I'm the baddest man in the world. And then my mom tells me I need to drink some chocolate milk and all this stuff. So I go and I do it. Like you cannot be anti-establishment and pro-establishment at the same time. You got to pick a side, my dude, and we know this medical procedure, everybody's on it. And it's basically like to be anti-establishment now is you have to be pretty much a Republican or a conservative. You got to be, that's the only way. It's the only way. Because then you become the guy that wears a leather jacket and rides around on a motorcycle because nobody can stop you. You play by your own rules at that point, And I feel like because we don't have a guy with a leather jacket and a motorcycle, like that's why we're in this situation. We don't have any cool guys that are just like, yeah, I did it. So what? You had one. He was your president, and y'all didn't like the way he talked to people. You didn't like the way that he handled business. You didn't like his tweets, even though y'all made him the most popular Twitter account on Twitter. But the second that, a bridge too far was people breaching the Capitol before the man even told them to breach the Capitol. And all of a sudden, he is the biggest bad of all time, back-to-back impeachment winner for unfounded stuff and whatever, man. But the last guy that I saw who was riding on a motorcycle who was too cool for school was Kamen Rider Black. Point of all that is to say, I came across actually I already said that. Boy, I saw one artist that was like, if you don't agree that minorities are oppressed, then we can't work together. But not all minorities are oppressed. So you're saying that that LeBron James is oppressed. He lives a way better life than I do. He's richer than I ever will be. There's a whole bunch of black millionaires in the NBA. It's made more black millionaires than any other industry on the face of the earth. Then you've got the NFL, which makes even more black millionaires. So I don't get it, And I'm from the ghetto. It might not sound like it, but I'm just a geek from the ghetto. I'm a geek off the streets, And I don't even think everybody who lives in the ghetto is oppressed, Not everybody who lives there is like just hard up for money or cash and all this stuff. Some people just made some poor decisions and they gotta pay the price for it, Some people live there because they take care of their parents and all this stuff. What about Malik, whose family owns several Dairy Queens in my area? Or Kim, who ran every single nail and hair salon in Decatur? That's some mighty oppression if you manage to have minority owned stores while serving minorities in a minority heavy area. An art teacher in college said to us one time to never lead with your politics. She said it, but like I said, she also was the same one that didn't hire the one guy because he put that thing on his email. And I think people need to understand that like this boogeyman, white supremacy, racism, and all that stuff. I think people need to understand that nobody sits around talking like this. Nobody sits around at work and just be like, you know what sucks, man? Because I'm having a real bad day. And somebody's like, what, man? And you're like, dog, white supremacy. And then we sing Kumbaya and we kneel for 9 minutes straight in dashikis and kufi hats, you know? So, point of all that is to say, look, who cares about the message, man? F the message. The only message I want to hear from my collaborators is, yes, I can do the job. This is the page rate, and here are the pages. Tell me what changes that can be made. So that's the video, guys, or the podcast, or the drop, whatever. See ya.